There was a recent news piece related to the Olympics that really caught my attention. And it was about what makes for a great commentator during the Olympic Games. And there were many keys shared during this article or this news piece that apply to success in sales. The first thing is that a great commentator really has a deep understanding of why and can also share context for why with the viewer, with the audience. In much the same way, someone who is successful at selling is able to understand why something's important to a client, but also be able to provide important context about why working together would be important and for the benefit of the client. The second thing that a commentator does really well is they're really selective in how they use their technical knowledge. Using technical knowledge of the sport to bring the viewer in to give them a deeper understanding of the sport, and especially in sports that maybe are a little bit more technical or maybe they aren't as mainstream. In the same way, a successful seller is selective in the how that they share with the client so that they're sharing the technical how-to or deeper knowledge in a way that's really pertinent to that decision maker, the person who is buying the product or service. And then lastly, a great commentator allows for space in the action. They aren't filling that space with conversation that is fluff or simply isn't relevant to what's at hand. They're allowing the viewer or the listener that silence in that space in order to absorb what's happening. And then they find those right places in the action to share the pertinent context, other pertinent commentary. Much the same in our sales conversations. Are we allowing for space? Are we allowing for that time for a decision maker, a buyer to process what it is that we're talking about? Or are we filling the space with too much conversation? So as you're preparing for your next sales conversation, your next presentation or proposal, think like a commentator. And what are the ways that you can very selectively and specifically use why in context, use technical how-to, and very importantly, leave space in the conversation or proposal for the buyer, for the decision maker to be able to process and respond.